This video is going to show you how to switch to the bassoon if you currently or if you've previously played the trombone. And even though there are a lot of differences between the bassoon and the trombone, you'll notice there are a lot of similarities as well. So stick around and find out what are my tips and tricks for getting started on the bassoon. My name is Natalie Law, and I am a bassoonist and a music educator, and one of my favorite things to do is teach people how to play the bassoon. This is why I've created this YouTube channel and my website, buildingabassoonist.com, to help create high quality and accessible online resources for people who are trying to learn this instrument. If you are just starting out, comment down below and tell me what sorts of things are you struggling with, what sorts of questions do you want answered, and I'll try to help you out the best I can. Because this video is not comprehensive, I suggest that you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you get updated every single time I upload a video that could possibly help you out. Every single time before you play the bassoon, you need to soak your reed in some sort of cup of water, and you'll soak it completely in the container. I just have a prescription bottle that I've cleaned out and reused. You can use a number of containers that hold water. One thing you need to remember is to consistently clean out the container itself to keep everything clean. When you are not playing the bassoon and you need to store your reed, you need to make sure that you're storing them in a container that has some sort of air ventilation. So there needs to be some way for fresh air to come into the container so that your reed can completely dry out. The reason for this is if you store your reeds in a container that is airtight or the moisture can't escape, they will grow mold and they will be unhealthy eventually for you to play. So if you ever notice your reed is moldy or has a funny smell on it, throw it away and don't play it because it's not safe to play. So you need to make sure that there's some sort of ventilation, some sort of hole or something in the container for air to get through. The question often comes up, how often do I replace my reeds? And the answer is that it depends. It depends on how often you are rotating the reeds that you have. It depends on how often you're playing on the reeds. And so your reeds could last anywhere from a couple weeks to a couple months, and it all just depends on different factors. You'll know when it's time to replace a reed when you start to lose control of the reed, it starts to not sound good, there might be some sort of discoloration on the reed that means that it's just getting old and needs to be thrown out. There should be some obvious signs that you need to replace the reed. As a trombonist, you're probably used to creating sound by buzzing your lips together against a piece of metal, the mouthpiece. And on a bassoon, we don't have a mouthpiece. We actually have a reed where the two pieces of cane or wood vibrate together to make sound. There are 3 steps to making a bassoon embouchure. Step number 1 is that you want to create a whistling face, and even if you can't whistle, just pretend. Step number 2 is while you are making that whistling face, roll your bottom lip just slightly over your bottom teeth, like this. Step number 3 is to make sure that your top lip is just slightly in front of your bottom lip if you were to look at your embouchure from the side. You also want to make sure that your corners of your lips are always pulled in, and you want to make sure that you always have a very tall, open oral cavity for your embouchure to get the best sound and the best intonation. In addition to knowing how to make a bassoon embouchure, you need to know how to tongue or how to articulate on the bassoon. So when you're trying to learn how to tongue, the spot that you tongue on the reed is the tip of the bottom blade will make contact with the top of the tip of your tongue. So just behind the tip of your tongue will make contact with the bottom blade of the reed. So let's do an exercise that will help us learn how to tongue on the reed. So when you're tonguing on the reed, think about using a toe or a do syllable. And for right now, let's think about do. That's probably going to be the most successful for us. So try to do this exercise with just the reed and repeat after me. A common issue that happens when you're trying this exercise is that you'll be stopping your air in between each tongue. So it might sound something like In that case, my air is actually stopping in between my tongue. So instead, you want to think about your air as continuous and your tongue is just lightly interrupting that airstream as you tongue. So I'll show you once more. And that's how you tongue on the bassoon. Before you sit down to play the bassoon, you'll want to make sure that your seat strap is placed across the chair and that it's pushed as far to the edge of the chair as possible. The seat strap holds up the majority of the bassoon so that you don't have to hold it. The main thing you need to do is focus on balancing the bassoon. Once you've sat down and you have your seat strap hooked into the boot joint of your bassoon, you're going to sit like this, and you want to make sure that you're in a comfortable upright position. You're not leaning forward, you're not slouching back. And you want to bring the bassoon across your body. You always want to bring the bassoon to you. You never want to move your body to come to the bassoon. And you might need to adjust the seat strap with your left hand to bring the bassoon either up or down so that the bocal comes in at a straight line to your mouth. Your fingers go in the following spots. So your left hand has 3 tone holes here, and you may actually have a key right here instead of a tone hole, and that's fine. So 1, 2, 3, and then in your right hand you have 2 tone holes and a key that's gonna be kind of your main home base. You have a tone hole, and then this key right here, and that's just kind of your home base. Your fingers are gonna move to other keys and other positions as you learn more fingerings, but that's kind of where you want to start from. And even when you don't have your fingers down, you kind of want to keep them in that same area while you are playing in general. On the back side of the bassoon, one of the things that the bassoon is known for is the amount of thumb keys that we have. And so you'll notice this key right here, the bottom one right here for your left hand, that's where your left thumb is going to go. That's called the whisper key, and it's one of the most important keys on the bassoon. And then your right hand is going to go on this key right here. Your left thumb is going to go right here, and that is going to be kind of your home base. I hope this video was helpful for you today and that it helped you to feel more confident as you're learning bassoon. If you learned something today, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that I know that this was valuable to you and that you want more information like this. Even though you may be struggling with the bassoon right now, I promise that with enough consistent and thoughtful practice that you will start to feel more comfortable and more successful as a bassoonist.